Hello, I hope this vlog finds you doing well today. So I thought I would do you a solid and give you some nuts and bolts information to help those of you who are really trying to do some research and make sure that you're armed with the information that you need, the truth. So here we go. Let's get right into it. Before Israel, there was a British mandate, not a Palestinian state. Before the British Mandate, there was the Ottoman Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before the Ottoman Empire, there was the Mamluk Islamic Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before the Mamluk Islamic Empire, I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, I mean no disrespect, but language is not my thing, and I'm also dyslexic, so you put those two together and you kind of have a recipe for disaster. But I go for it anyway. There was the Ayyubid dynasty, Ayyubid, not a Palestinian state. Before the Ayyubid dynasty, there was the Crusader Kingdom of Jerusalem, not a Palestinian state. Before the Crusader Kingdom, there was the Arab Islamic conquest, not a Palestinian state. Before the Arab Islamic conquest, there was the Byzantine Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before the Byzantine Empire, there was a Roman Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before the Roman Empire, there was a Macedonian Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before the Macedonian Empire, there was the Persian period, not a Palestinian state. Before the Persian period, there was the Neo-Babylonian period, not a Palestinian state. Before the Neo-Babylonian period, there was the Neo-Assyrian period, not a Palestinian state. Before the Neo-Assyrian period, there was the Old Babylonian period, not a Palestinian state. Throughout history, Israel has never been the colonizer, only the colonized. This is from Stand With Us. I would highly recommend them. Obviously, they're from a Zionist perspective. But what's great is there are links and there are guides to further information, but I'm just trying to let you know there is information out there. Obviously, there's a ton of censoring happening all the time. I don't even know if you're new to my vlog, I've had vlogs taken down, and who the heck am I? I'm just a homeschool mom. Like, I'm a grandma. I don't know why anybody cares about what I'm posting. I have less than 80 followers, but I guess someone doesn't like my truth telling. So I'm hoping that this gives you a bit of a start. Now, I'm going to give you a little more information. If you start following some of these people, you'll find other people who are posting history, who are posting archaeological finds and things that point towards Jewish history, the right of a Zionist state, why it's important. You study World War II, the Holocaust. So all of these things will lead you to the conclusion that you absolutely must be a Zionist and the Jewish people must have a homeland. Look what's happening in the world right now. I mean, we literally had an airplane land in Russia and Jewish people couldn't get off the airplane because pro-Islam or pro-Hamas people were rioting to the point that they even got on the tarmac. We've got people calling for mass Jewish genocide, and so many people are looking the other way. So if you ever wondered why the Holocaust was able to happen, right now you're seeing why it was able to happen. It's very clear, and you must choose a side. You cannot stand in the middle. That's a non-negotiable. Okay, so this says, Zionism is not a new concept in Jewish history. So let's talk about it. Zionism is the movement of Jewish people returning to their ancestral land. Zionism is just one of the dozen attempts in the long history of the Jewish people aspiring to return to Israel. Returning to the Jewish ancestral land has been a recurring theme in Jewish history. To deny Jewish connection to Israel is to deny Jewish history. Jewish people are from Judea, Israel, following the destruction of the Jewish people's first temple in Jerusalem by the Babylonians in 586 BCE. Many Jewish people were forcibly exiled to Babylon. After nearly 50 years, the Persian ruler Cyrus the Great issued a decree allowing any Jewish person to return to Israel to rebuild the temple. This marked a significant early instance of Jewish people returning to their homeland. The Cyrus cylinder, which contains this pivotal decree, is presently showcased in London for public viewing. You can go to www.britishmuseum.org to see the picture of this vessel. It's fascinating. Babylonian captivity, 586 to 538 BCE, the return of the Jewish people to Israel after the exile authorized by Cyrus the Great. Hasmonean, a Maccabean revolt, 167 to 160 BCE. Jewish uprising against the Seleucid Empire, leading to the reestablishment of the Jewish sovereignty and the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, commemorated during Hanukkah. Roman siege of Jerusalem, 70 CE, Roman conquest, destruction of the Second Temple, and dispersion of Jewish people. Expulsion from Spain, 1492, following the Alhambra decree issued by the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain. Jewish people were expelled from the Iberian Peninsula. This led to some Jewish people seeking refuge in Israel. Sabbatian movement, 17th century. Followers of Sabbatia Zevi, who believed his leadership would lead to the return of Israel. Old Yeshuv, early to mid-1800s, a wave of Jewish immigrants to the Holy Land driven by numerous factors including discrimination, prosecution, and religious and spiritual reasons. The main goal of the Jewish people was to reestablish Jewish sovereignty. First Aliyah, which is to become a citizen spiritually and physically of Israel, 1882 to 1903. Jewish immigration to their ancestral homeland, then part of the Ottoman Empire, to establish new communities. Second Aliyah, 1904 to 1914. Jewish immigration focused on creating a new Jewish society in Israel. These movements to return to Israel span from ancient times to the early 20th century, highlighting the enduring desire of Jewish people to return to their ancestral homeland. So I should have given you enough information here to set you on a trajectory of researching the truth. And we know that Yeshua is the way, the truth, and the life. So if we want to understand our God, we need to understand his people. We need to understand history. We need to understand the Bible. We need to understand, again, the truth. And you can't have the truth unless you unravel the layers and get down to the root system. And I think that's so much of why the Bible talks about roots, right? Because God is like, hey, we've got this journey and I want you to go in the right direction. And there's only one right direction. I hope to not have to keep vlogging about all of these little details. I don't think that this is necessarily my strength, but I am a truth teller and I am a truther. And so for those of you who are really struggling to decide what the truth is, I hope that at least you're not saying, okay, Susan, you're just telling me your opinion, but you're not giving me any cold hard facts. And even though I just read you that information, I know many of you will still say those aren't cold hard facts. Well, I'm not going to sit here and do an hour vlog. I'm giving you enough to hopefully perk your ears, perk your spirit, to then do some research of your own. What I want is not to have to spoon feed people. I want to inspire you to go after God, to go after the one, to go after the truth. And I'm going to leave you with this question. If the Jewish people are not entitled to the God-given land called Israel, where should they go? I just read you all of this history, the history of the Jewish people. Who wants them? And look at what's going on in Israel right now. Look at what's going on in the world right now. And look at the hate and the sheer venom towards God's chosen people, towards God's land. If we were to kick them out of Israel and say, okay, disperse once again, who in this world wants them? Who's going to take them? Who's going to let them keep their Jewish identity? Who's going to let them worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Where are they going to be safe to raise their children and worship their God? These are cold, hard questions. This is right now, the truth is being exposed. The sheer hate towards God's people and God himself. The defiance of the people in this earth that are drunk with this seducing spirit, this demonic spirit, the spirit of this age, which is to be godless and rebellious. Where would the Jewish people go? The Jewish people must have a homeland. They must have their homeland. And we must submit. We've been given the cold, hard data. We can see what's going on. We must submit to God's will and God's plan. Zionism is not demonic. Zionism is not a secret society. And listen, I'm a truther. Yes, there are secret societies. And yes, there are bad Jewish people. There are bad people in every religion and every heritage. But to be Jewish and to desire to live in your homeland and to live free, just as we Americans want to live free, that's not wrong. And that doesn't, you're not evil because you're born Jewish. You're not evil because you practice Judaism. So you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I will talk to you again soon.